What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right. So, this video, I just want to talk about the state of the MVP race right now in the NBA. All right. Um, Now, this is just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it, but this is just how I feel about it. Okay. Number one, I think that in most years, because there's so many great players, all in their primes, the MVP race uh, is fluid. It varies. It shifts. It's not very seldom is there one year where there's a breakaway candidate or a guy you're like, okay, I see him as being the odds-on favorite. There have been some exceptions. I would say in '93, most people kind of expected Barkley. Now that he could no longer use the excuse, I don't have any help. Uh, he knew that he was sort of like getting close to the downside of his career. He was extra motivated. Most people, and plus a little bit of the media attention and the narrative, he had a favor. You could see he was favored to get that award. 1996, Michael Jordan's first full year back. Most people kind of expected him because he wanted to reestablish himself as the best player in the game. Most people kind of expected him to win an award. Um, Iverson in 2001, um, the league was trying to look to come out of the post Jordan doldrums. They needed someone who was electrifying, someone who could capture the attention of the NBA fandom at that time and take it into the 21st century. And there was no better candidate than Allen Iverson. Yes, um, Kobe Bryant would go on to surpass him, but Kobe at that time was still battling with Shaq for supremacy on that team. AI had, you know, to what he did that year cemented his legend. Now, you know, but anyway, those are some exceptions. This is how I look at it this year. Earlier on, the runaway leader was Steph Curry. All right. The Warriors got off to that great start. Steph Curry had some absolutely just remarkable performances earlier on in the season. And you just had to give him his props, man, because first of all, nobody really expected the Warriors to come out the way they did this year. Not to this extent, as far as having the best record in the NBA and having such a great start, and at one point in time, almost having a historic beginning, you know. But then, you start seeing Curry having some bad performances, some mediocre performances, mixed in with some signature performances. I think the highlight of Curry this year was when he dropped that, what was it, 39 at the Barclay, and they were cheering for him on the road, you know, chanting MVP. I think that might have been the peak of Curry as far as the MVP frontrunner this season. Then Kevin Durant had a little stretch. He had a little stretch where over a 3 or 4 game stretch he was averaging like 39 points, 10 rebounds, uh, you know, like 5 assists or something like that. I mean, he was playing MVP caliber basketball. Now you could question um, the caliber of the opponent, but at the end of the day, he was doing what he had to do. But then, you know, the outbreak occurred. He missed some games and he lost momentum. Now, over the last couple of weeks, there have been some guys that have stepped up and have kind of gotten into the conversation. Of course, Chris Paul has to be in the conversation because of the team that had they had the 18 game winning streak. A lot of people considered last year a fluke. They needed to be convinced that Phoenix is an upper echelon elite team. This year, I think they pretty much answered that they are indeed. The only thing that hurts Chris Paul is his age and the fact that the media is not really enthralled with the stats that you would see from a past first point guard. They like scoring point guards. They claim, that they respect the traditional point guard, but in reality, they love the combo guards. They love the guys that put up points and, you know, uh, dish out assists at a reasonable rate over the traditional point guard whose job is primarily to be a quarterback out there, set guys up to be in positions to score, control the tempo of the game, be to show floor generalship, and when need be, score when all else fails. They don't really respect that, man. So at the end of the day, that hurts Chris Paul. Um, Giannis had a stretch, but the thing that hurt Milwaukee was the earlier injuries, and then the destruction of their team, which as far as what the outbreak is concerned. But Giannis needs a little bit more sustained play to get into that conversation. LeBron James, the media wants to always put him in that conversation, but as I have said emphatically, the media needs to have the same criteria for everybody. If you're on a losing team, you cannot just hold it against Nikola Jokic. You cannot just hold it against Luka Doncic. You cannot just hold it against, anybody. But you want to praise LeBron James and try to make some loopholes as to put him in the MVP conversation. Doesn't work like that. So a late charge has been made by Demar Derozan. Back to back unbelievable buzzer beaters to close out 2021 and to open 2022. The team's success is there despite the fact that they were the first team truly decimated by the outbreak. They have the best record in the Eastern Conference. DeMar DeRozan's individual statistics this season are brilliant. 27 points per game. I can't remember his rebounds and assists, but I'm assuming there's somewhere around like 5 rebounds, maybe 3 or 4 assists. He's shooting about 50% from the floor. He's shooting about 88% from the foul line. He's shooting about 36% from three, which will be a career high for him. Um, he's playing on both ends of the floor. And you see a renewed optimism with Chicago Bulls fans that we haven't really had since the days, quite frankly, of Derrick Rose. So he's popped up into the equation as well. Right now, I think it's a three-way race. And when you look at the fact that Chicago does have signature wins against uh, great teams, Brooklyn really lacks that. The Warriors are a great team, but Steph has struggled a lot over the last couple of weeks. Me personally, I guess I'm showing my Chicago Bulls bias. I would give a slight edge to DeRozan, just a slight edge to DeRozan, um, with maybe Curry a little bit behind right now, or it's really, really close with Durant a little bit behind both of them. If I had to just take a guess, and that's just how I see the race right now. It's like I said, there's one guy who, if they get it going, can blow this thing out of proportion and blow out the water, and that's Mr. Antetokounmpo. If they can get healthy and he can have a sustained period of time, especially if Milwaukee wins the East or reasserts themselves as the best team record-wise, because they don't even need to have the best record. Remember last year, they didn't have the best record in the NBA. They didn't even have the best record in the Eastern Conference. They were third. So that's kind of how I see it right now. Um, right now, it's an open race. the late shift momentum is for DeRozan, but that could change. But tell me what you guys think.